Hi everyone, thanks for joining our webinar today. I look forward to introducing TCard and showing you around the product so that you have a better understanding of how it works and the value that it can bring to your operation. I'm joined today by Laura Can, who will be facilitating the session, and whilst I'll be monitoring the chat, she'll ensure that I don't miss anything and keep me on track. Just note that we are around 30 seconds delayed, so if I don't respond to your question straight away, that would be why, but I'll get to them eventually. So the format of this session is really just to give you a bit of an introduction to Mipac and myself, and then to give you a bit of an overview of TCard before we jump into the demonstration. I'll then switch back to TCard successes and use cases and finish off with any questions and answers for those. So firstly, I'd like to introduce Mipac. Our mission at Mipac is to provide high quality solutions that enhance operational performance and improve productivity, safety and efficiency for our clients. We've been in business for over 20 years and we've delivered many projects across the globe. Our company is centered around experienced and passionate engineers, and we have over 80 in the team, mostly engineers with operational experience. We work in many different sectors from power, oil, gas and water, and we have significant experience in mining, minerals and metals space, working both in brownfield and greenfield projects for concentrators, smelters, tank houses and more. And we work across the entire automation pyramid, providing design, engineering and supply for enabling infrastructure, such as instrumentation, communication networks and control systems. And we also develop and implement monitoring systems from data historians such as OSI SoftPi, downtime systems such as RTGWet, and visualization and communication tools that facilitate log sheets, dashboarding and reporting. And then we deploy and integrate intervention systems, which facilitate automated decisions and recommendations, production forums, and digital task allocation. Now, Mipac is technology agnostic, and we work with clients to implement the best solution to match their circumstances. And we also develop our own products and have a suite of solutions from hardware and software products that are designed for industrial applications. And so today we'll be focusing on the digital task allocation, which is TCard. But before I go into TCard, I thought I'd share a little bit about myself. So as you can see, I'm the product manager at Mipac, and I've been with the company for over 8 years. I've worked in roles such as project management, lead control systems engineer across a multitude of projects. But before Mipac, I started my career as an electrical and instrumentation apprentice for a pharmaceutical company in the UK. And my old man also worked for the company as a chemical production operator. And we had a running joke where whenever I would go to the plant to try and get a permit to do some work, we would find him or his colleagues sitting in the tea room. And I remember back then how everything was also so paper-based, including the samples that they would take, any breakdowns that they would note, and all the other handover logs. And so this would mean that the handovers were poor and they had limited time to digest the incoming shift logs, and so really didn't make for a great handover experience. And I remember thinking back then how efficient that seemed. But even today, we still see the same issues repeat again and again when we go to site. The operations, they have poor visibility of day-to-day operations and rely on paper-based or Excel systems to track activities or status. We have team communication between shifts and between operators, supervisors and management can be ineffective, resulting in a lack of operational awareness and frustration at multiple levels. Plants have inconsistency in the way that activities are performed, meaning that the activities are not optimal or actively countering the other shift's actions. The handovers are still ineffective and incoming shifts have little time to digest the issues and don't necessarily know the current operating state. We also know how important housekeeping activities are for safety and optimal running of an operation. Yet we often see spillages, equipment left laying around, or obstacles when we walk around the operations, creating this unsafe environment. We also hear of stories when the standby equipment fails to start, resulting in plant downtime, things that could be quite simply resolved. And we've seen and heard these stories from many clients. And we've also seen operations trying to resolve these issues by rolling out ERP or maintenance systems to perform operational activities. But due to their complexity, they typically fail. And so a number of years ago, we were approached by a client to develop a fit-for-purpose industrial operations management solution. And the goal here was to improve transparency and standardise regular activities to ultimately improve production, safety, and housekeeping. And this is where TCard was born. And so TCard is an operations management solution that enhances stability through teamwork, structure, and insight. But above all else, TCard keeps it simple for operators, supervisors, and management. Now, TCard was created as a simple-to-use operations management tool that helps plan, schedule, and manage operational activities easily and efficiently. It facilitates two-way communication and provides clear visibility of the status of activities. There are 4 key pillars to TCard, which are teamwork, structure, insight, and stability. Firstly, teamwork. So by enabling effective communication, we've seen improved shift handovers and an enhanced culture from accountability to actually shifts working productively together. Structure. So within TCard, there's the ability to embed standard operating procedures which help with operational consistency. There's the ability to be aware of shutdowns and to remove the noise that the operators don't need to see during those shutdown periods. And it's also been able to balance the shift load, so certain shifts don't get bundled with the same tasks again and again. They can be evenly spread out across multiple shifts. The insight side, so gives us a better visibility, early detection of any issues that might come up, and also to flag any issues as they do come up. The stability side of things, good housekeeping, as I mentioned before, we know good housekeeping improves safety, it improves productivity. And so what we've seen is that increase in safety, the reduced downtime, and ultimately improved performance. So rather than tell you any more, I think it will be good to show you a bit of a demonstration of how TCard works and achieves these outcomes. So I will just bring up TCard, and in this view, I'm logged in as an operator. And I've been taken to today's shift and can see a number of activities that need to be completed. Now within TCard, there are a number of dashboards that can be configured, and users can quickly switch between the different dashboards by simply clicking on the drop-down menu. Users can also go forward and backwards. Now, today is the 1st of December and I am on the last day of my shift. So as an operator, there is no tomorrow shift, but I can look back and see what happened last night's shift. So what I can see here is that a number of tasks have been completed. I can click into the various tasks and see comments from the previous night's shift as to what's happened. Also, I have the ability to look at overdue tasks. So at the moment, it's showing me that there are no overdue tasks. And I can also look at a 24-hour report. So this gives me a quick summary of all of the tasks that completed in last 24 hours, including comments and who made those comments. So when we come back to today, we see a number of different cards on the display here, and you'll obviously notice that there's different colors. So the ones that stand out would be these black tasks, which are priority 2 shutdown tasks. They've been coded slightly differently so that they are clear to the operator that they are for a shutdown purpose or preparation for a shutdown. All the other tasks are shown in red, which indicates that they are ready to be done. So how do we complete a task? Well, first let's open up the daily conveyor checks. Now within the card, it's possible to define the estimated time. So here we can see that the estimated time for this task is 1 hour. Within the task as well, as you can see, we've got an embedded procedure on what we're supposed to check. And you can see that we have images as well, showing the operator what the task involves. Now, let's assume that I have completed this task. I will come in and I will enter my name and select complete. I have the option to select cannot complete if that task has a particular issue, which we'll cover later. So here I tick complete and I add my comment to say all okay, conveyor checks did as expected. And click save. And as you can see, the daily conveyor checks has been moved down to green and to the bottom of the list, indicating that that task has now been completed. So let's move on to a different task. And now I'm going to complete the priority 3 for the safety shower eye wash audit. Now, again, in this card, we see that you have a description that outlines what is required for the activity. But in addition, what we can see here is that the comments have already been pre-populated with shower locations and the ability to simply enter data into the table. So for this one, I'll make the assumption that everything was okay except for the reagents, which failed. And this was because there was a broken handle. So I'll enter my name and say I have completed the task. I've got my comments already in there, but I want to flag this to the supervisor so that he can review or she can review the task and provide feedback to me on getting this issue resolved. And then I click save. So now when the supervisor looks at the daily report, they will see that the shower eye wash audit was complete, but there was an item there for their review. Now let's have a look at another task, and I'll use the Ppe replenishment for the control room. So within this task, what you can see, we still have that basic description, but we also have a link to a procedure. So within this example, we can embed links to any web location, but more often than not, this would be a link to the document management system where your standard operating procedure is stored. And so the benefits of that mean that you can effectively have a very high level description of what the activity is, but if the operator would like to find out more, they can click that link and go to it, with the added benefit that that operating procedure can be updated in your standard document management system. So for this task, I'm going to assume that there was an issue and I can't complete it. When I select cannot complete, I have the option to enter a reason code. Now, none of those reason codes work for me, so I will say other, see comments. And the problem for me was there were no earplugs available. And I put a request to order more from store. Now, you also have the opportunity to enter a work request number. So this could be, in this situation, it might be the store's order number, but if it's a request for maintenance to fix something, you might raise a request for maintenance to come and fix. And so you can add a log of that work request number and the reason why. And just for good measure, I'll also let the supervisor know that he or she needs to review this task. Now, what you might notice here is that this task has been flagged as grey. So it's quite clear that there was something not quite right with this task and that it needs further review. So as you can see, it's a very simple, intuitive display for operators to go through. And as the shift progresses, we'll see this progressively get green and all of the remaining tasks showing up at the top. One other item that I didn't really cover in detail was the priorities. So at the moment, we have for the primary grinding, we have a priority 1, priority 2, 3, 4, and 5. And as you can see, they're ordered in priority so that you focus on the tasks that matter. So I am now logged in as a supervisor. If I was to refresh my display, the supervisor sees exactly the same as what the operator does on today's task board. However, what you'll notice is that they can also see further into the future. So what a supervisor can do is look at future shifts so that they can ensure that the tasks and activities that have been planned are balanced and suitable for the incoming shifts. The second feature that's available to a supervisor is the ability to view the entire history of activities that have been completed. So to access that from the menu and click in task list. Now we have a number of predefined filters that make searching history of tasks a lot easier. So for example, we're on the last 24 hours, but we can quite quickly filter to the last month, or more interestingly, the last 24 hours of incomplete tasks. Alternatively, we can apply our own filters. So if I wanted to find all priority 1, I simply enter the details here and then find all priority 1s that were not complete or could not be complete. And there we have it. So that's only one task that couldn't be done. And from there, you can also open up the task to see the details of if anything was put in there. Now, supervisors also have the ability to view reports. Actually, I didn't. I missed this one, but the operators can also see the same level of report in here, which gives you a summary of the number of tasks that have been assigned and completed, those that couldn't be completed, and those that have expired, which means tasks that did not get complete but have then been rescheduled. So we have some built-in reporting there as well. Now, if a user wanted to add a new activity, they come into the Manage Templates area. Now, I prepared one in advance, which outlines a weekly task. And so for this one, I might decide that I want to do a weekly changeover of a pump. I'll say that this is a important task, and it's for the flotation area, and I want it to happen on day shift. I can enter my estimated time frame to make this happen. I can also add any photos that I wish to embed within that activity, add the description, and add links as required. Now, I touched on earlier that there was pre-populated tables in comments, so we can also add any pre-populated comments here. And this has the benefit of speeding up the time in which comments are entered and keeps some level of consistency. And now, probably the most powerful part of the scheduler for cards and activities. This is how we set up how frequently a task or activity is scheduled. So at the moment, I've got this task disabled, but the schedule is for weekly. Now we have the opportunity as well within TCard to define activities that are scheduled by shifts and crews that come in. So I could, for example, say that I want every shift to do this activity on the second day that they're in, and TCard would calculate what those days are and schedule those activities. But for this one, I'm just going to keep it very simple. I'm going to say it's a weekly task that's done on day shift, and I want it to be done on a Thursday. I set my from and to dates, and I can set an expiry date if required. And then what we can see is, oh, I think I've still got it disabled, apologies. We can see the auto-generated examples of when this activity will be scheduled. And then we click save. And so now that activity will start appearing on those days that we've scheduled that in for. One other simple feature within TCard is the ability to duplicate tasks. So, for example, this might have been for changeover of pump 1, but I might want to do changeover of pump 2, and I might want that to happen on a Sunday instead. So by saving as a new template, I've quickly created a new task, an activity that will change over pump 2. Now, in addition to the templates, we have the ability to configure shutdowns. Now, I mentioned shutdown tasks earlier, but the functionality of a shutdown allows an operator, a supervisor, to schedule downtime for particular equipment. So if we was to run through an example of this, I have an existing shutdown period for secondary grinding and the control room, which is scheduled till yesterday. I'm going to extend that shutdown till tomorrow and click save. Now, what we've done here is we've enabled a shutdown. So if I was to go back to the task list, firstly, what we notice is that there is a shutdown active. So this has been flagging to operators that a current shutdown is in place. And then when we refresh, what you may or may not have noticed is there was a number of tasks that were in the control room, which now were priority 4 or above, priority 4 and 5, and they've been removed from the view. And the idea here is that those activities are not required for the operator when a shutdown in the control room is happening. any priority 3, 2, or priority 1 activities are still shown on the board and can be completed. Now, once the shutdown is complete, we are able to come back into the shutdown and tick end. That finishes the shutdown, and the shutdown has been completed. And as you can see, the priority 5 activities have now reappeared. And so that pretty much summarizes the additional functions of the supervisor. But in addition to this, we have additional users that for management or dedicated system administrators to administer users of the system, and some minor configuration too. Now, one thing I haven't touched on yet is the daily email that is scheduled. So with TCard, every operation has a daily summary, very similar to the list of activities, that shows, the number of tasks assigned, how many were completed, etc. Now, this is an example of, and a redacted example of one of our clients, just to sort of demonstrate that the level of detail of comments that they'll put into the activities as operators are completing these tasks. And so you have the summary above, but you have the opportunity to go into detail below. Okay, so look, I think that's fairly pretty much it from a demonstration point of view. As I hopefully have shown, this TCard system is very simple to use, very intuitive. And I might just flick back and give you a bit of a success story from one of our clients. Now, Glencore MIM had and continues to use an ERP system for their operation, but they, like I've mentioned before, found it too complicated for their operators to use and was not really suitable for operator tasks across crews in a 24/7 operation. And whilst daily tasks were being well managed, it was the irregular tasks that were being missed and caused disruption when faults or blockages occurred. The lack of responsibility and automatic recurrence within the original task management system that Glencore had made monitoring these tasks difficult and would ultimately lead to disrupted production, downtime, and ultimately additional costs. And so MIM had the objectives to spread the workload so that the same crew were not always doing a particular task. They wanted to make sure the task management list was coherent so that everyone manages the same tasks in a consistent manner. They wanted to be able to embed links to manuals, training, SWIs, and photos and so on, and so that they're easily accessed while the task is being performed. They also wanted to ensure that the system worked with the operations roster and the continuous shift cycles that are for an industrial site like themselves. And they wanted to improve transparency and reporting across the operation for these activities that are performed. And they also wanted to give the operators a sense of purpose and recognition for good performance of getting these activities complete. And so not only were we able to achieve all of those goals, we had some great outcomes. So the site was using up to 4,000 operational tasks per month, and they managed all the tasks on site 24/7 with multiple shifts. And what we saw was they had increased transparency across the board, including identifying additional opportunities to raise work orders and address maintenance issues that may otherwise have gone unnoticed. They were also able to introduce specific interval-led tasks to address regular blockages and downtime problems with their chiller system. And effectively that removes a lot of the issues that they were having. But one of the more interesting ones was the improved morale and employee engagement across the various crews. For those that are interested, next week we actually have a webinar with Mark Peterson, who is the manager of the copper smelter, and he is going to expand on how TCard has helped him solve a number of challenges within the operation. And that's on Thursday, the 9th of December. So in addition to what we've heard from our customer success, some of the use cases that we typically see for the activities that are scheduled within TCard are housekeeping. There's a number of different types of housekeeping, from the regular making sure walkways are clear and tools and everything are put away, to those safety type activities such as creating an eye wash station, making sure the eye wash station is suitable and doesn't have any issues. And what we found is that these housekeeping activities, they eliminate these workplace hazards, they contribute to improved productivity, and as with the MIM example, enhance team morale. Some other examples that we have are where operations perform checks of the standby pumps or equipment. And what this ensures is that they're ready to go in case the primary fails. And this results in improved uptime. We've also seen a number of clients use the cards for handover notes. So in addition to the regular activities, there's a place for them to enter general notes for the incoming shifts, so they have clear information on any other issues that they may have faced. And this effectively creates that digital or centralized log of activities. Some of the other ones that I haven't listed here, but we see time and time again, are sampling. So operators performing samples at regular intervals. And one interesting one is the operational strategy changes. So by documenting any changes to the operational strategy, it informs the incoming crews as to what's happening. And so why Mipac? Well, as I touched on before, the people at Mipac are very important. They're technical experts, but they also have a number of people with operational experience. And so they've been there and they understand the challenges that operations face. And we've always been a company that innovates, and this is shown through our portfolio of products that have been developed. But we also embrace complex problems and continuously look for ways to improve safety, performance, and productivity for our clients. And one of the great features of Mipac is we also have our in-house software development team that are dedicated to improving our products in line with the customer needs. So we're agile in our delivery and we don't need to rely on third parties for updates or features. And it also means that our operational support teams work closely with our developers to resolve any issues fast. So now I'll open to Q&A, but given that there is a delay, I'll start with one of the most common questions that we have, which is why would we employ TCard over an ERP or a maintenance system? Now, as you're probably aware, most operations already have an ERP or a maintenance system in place, and they use these for inventory, supply chain management, asset maintenance, accounting, human resources, customer relationships, etc. And they're great at centralizing data, standardizing business processes, and automation of manual and routine functions. But what we found is that ERPs and maintenance systems, they're expensive, they require significant training, and they have limited customization to suit 24/7 operations. Also, these systems are not typically used for managing day-to-day operational tasks and activities. And so this is where TCard really excels with its shift capabilities, so scheduling on a shift basis and tracking those tasks simply and easily within the dashboard environment. One other question that we also get asked a lot is around implementing a new technology. So we know that a number of digital transformation journeys fail, up to 70%, I believe, and a lot of new technology can be painful to implement. So there's always going to be a challenge, and that's why we've built in an onboarding process, a rapid onboarding process into the first year subscription. And our goal is to get new users up and running within a few weeks. It's very simple. It's a cloud-based solution that can be spun up a new instance, and we have a set of procedures that we run through to help you onboard pretty fast. So look, it doesn't look like any questions are coming in. So I will probably ask that if anyone does have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at glen.johnson@mipac.com.au, or you can reach through to our generic sales at mipac.com.au if you have any other questions. But otherwise, yeah, I thank you for your time, and hopefully this has been useful for you to understand what TCard is, how it works, and how it can add value to your business. And thank you.